In the top left, as the blue Terran, he is Jin-Air's Cure. It's a proxy 2-ax against a non-proxy 2-ax.
SCV ready.
The only downside is that GuMiho doesn't have SCVs to pull, which here has at least 4 or 5 by when everything's said and done. So that's really it, though. Like, he should just be down 1 continuously, and 1 should be encamped too, which might be the worst part. Is like it might not be able to escape to join up the clump of Reapers you're trying to get.
Upgrade.
Yeah. Oh, that ain't gonna work. Yeah. It was going to be hard to keep that advantage, you know, with Cure scouting and pulling the SCVs preemptively. They were going to be able to block out the Reapers from just, hopping up and getting away with it. He was going to be able to kind of track and guess where GuMiho was going to go, because GuMiho could have gone to the front and tried to anyways, but Cure would have figured that out. And, well, it looks like this hasn't really worked. Definitely not as effectively as GuMiho was hoping, against someone who went like a 1-rax expand, for instance. And you do just have to kind of macro out of it. Are you kidding?
I've been muted. Son of a
Are
gun.
you kidding?
I pulled a fear dragon. I pulled a fear dragon. So today's cast brought to you by Zombie Grub and her imaginary friend Rifkin. I actually, you know what makes me mad? I feel like my analysis is really nice at the start of this game.
No one would know.
No one
He
will
was
know.
calling like proxy hellions. He was so wrong, guys.
Okay, this goes pretty badly for GuMiho, and unfortunately that is going to be game before we get to see the Banshees. So, GG. Map number 1, as you guys get to hear about 10 seconds of my commentary, goes to Cure. I wish I had a third guy I could blame this on, right? Like the Root House has Rob from production. If something goes wrong, they're like, fucking Rob. What a schmuck. Alright, well, it's game 1 in Best of 5 goes to GuMiho. Thank you, Dr. Aramy, for the 15-month resub. Let's get game 2 going, Zombie Grub. Was it Dusk Towers? Fantastic.
Yep.
You know, my favorite part of when this happens is the amount of tweets that come in afterwards. Like, hey, I don't know if you know, your mic's muted. I'm like, oh, I didn't catch that from the 50 people in chat telling me. Look, I have 3 Skype messages right now lighting up too. Son of a gun.
Gotta say, Rifkin's casting is getting more and more subtle.
It's becoming a lot more tolerable. RT Shooter. Ryan, my man, thank you so much for the 13-month resub. Big love to you, man. We're good whenever GuMiho's good. I'm just going to move past it. Because I know that I'm going to dwell on this for the rest of the day. Like, we're going to be done casting in 5 hours from now. I'm just going to be like, I can't believe I did that. I'm so dumb. At any rate, I guess the only thing we really talked about that you missed was, in regards to ads, guys, this tournament is paid for by TING. People worried about, like, oh, I sure hope that TLO's calling me. You tell me I'm muted. Yeah, there's a delay, though, man. Yeah, I know. Thank you, TLO, for the concern. All right, Dust Towers. We'll see you guys in a sec. God damn it. So, yeah, we were saying really quick, guys, commercials, all of this stuff, it's Ting bringing you the $5,000, not BaseTradeTV. And the best part is they want to do more. Like, this isn't just like a one-time venture in esports. They sponsored Showcraft America last year, a huge 2v2 tournament with Nathanius. And, like, when we made the agreement to make this tournament with them in the first place, we told them we wanted the prospect of more tournaments down the line. Like, we really could have gone, like, $10,000, blow it out, and hope that's a one-hit wonder. But we told them, like, consistency is better for, like, them, for us, getting really cool content and having regular leagues to put on. So, Ting does want to do more in the future. So, I'm willing to play these ads, and I'm hoping you guys are willing to watch them if it means we keep getting $5,000 tournaments back to back to back type thing. But a very kind thank you to TLO and everyone else for trying to watch out for me and trying to let me know that my mic was muted. But let's move on, shall we? Game number 2 as I double check XSplit 5 times to make sure I'm not muted. In the bottom left side of Dusk Towers, coming out from Jin Air, it's the Blue Terran player Cure.
Banned out of Kespa tournaments forever by GuMiho.
Yep. Shouldn't have paused, man. It's all over.
In the top right, as the Red Terran, he is GuMiho.
You know what's worse? He didn't just pause, he typed in game, so he's super done. Like, that's his career over.
That's done. That's like 2 strikes. Like, that's like that's like a purple card in soccer or something.
Making jokes. Yeah, awarded by the umpire, right? Terrible jokes aside, there's a little bit of politics to actually discuss, and it's not about the pause of the talking, but same deal with Rogue, same kind of goes with Cure, both coming from Jin Air. We love these guys, and we know that there are certain players and certain teams that would play in every single tournament, online, offline, if possible, but the problem is there are some restrictions from their teams. So I'm really glad Jin Air let them play in the tournament in the first place, and that we got some of these guys come out to play. Even if neither Rogue nor Cure make it out of the group, I'm just really happy we get to see some more Korean action, because in Korea things are getting a little bit awkward with how limited people are, because especially with WCS cutting out on a lot of action, there's less and less tournaments available.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice that also Cure is able to do today, because Pro League did happen, it just wasn't Jin Air's day to play. That was yesterday, so quite fortunate, as it has been difficult scheduling these for you. As we found out last night.
Last night, and juggling 32 players for schedules in what is very 3 distinctive different time zones has been just a wonderful time.
It's been so great. We totally prepared for this. That's why we went to sleep so early, and we're so well rested. Womp womp womp.
Well, I mean, I actually feel great today. I didn't even bust out an energy drink. So
yeah, I actually
fantastic.
I had like a coffee thing when I thought originally it was going to be at 8 a.m. So I was already on board. And then I realized I didn't really need it as I was eating my chicken noodle soup because it was so good.
Nice.
Perked me right up.
All right, so for TvT openers, I'm just going to move on past that comment. A third CC comes down at a GuMiho pretty quick. Now, it's unfortunate GuMiho took a quick loss in this series because it was his choice. I mean, when you go for proxy barracks, you're determining your own fate, really, I feel, a lot of the time. It's rarely about your opponent, more about you. But that one time, that one game, it was all about Cure having that blind double racks opener. But for this game for GuMiho, I've got a lot of faith in this macro. Like, to see him open with cheese was definitely a little bit alarming to me, but I've got a lot of faith in his macro. So if he doesn't take too much damage from this drop, and he's got a Viking coming out even, so he really shouldn't, then on a map like Dusk Towers, I can see him going toe-to-toe with Cure, no problem.
Yeah, I agree. GuMiho does have the faster command center, but it's just on the low ground, and he'll have to deal with this drop, but he has units in position.
I will say again, by the way, very publicly, guys, I am very much cheering for GuMiho and Sulky in this group, because they are our Olima League like hometown heroes. Cure and Rogue are like the, I don't know, the black karate team, the bad guys.
Whoa, I think I'd be bad.
Well, they're wearing black. Sorry, I just want to clarify.
Good thing. So the drop does commence behind the mineral lines, but as I said, GuMiho's units were pretty well positioned. They actually do not get a lock on the medevac, but they still targeted down. So that
destroyed that attack. And weirdly enough, unlike every other matchup in the game, well, mirror matchups, excuse me, army value actually matters quite a lot in the early game. Like, okay, if you're Protoss, you got Photon Overcharged, you don't really care if you lost 2 Zealots early on or a Stalker, right? But for TvT, there is no easy mode defense like that. Like a Siege Tank's, I guess, a little bit along those lines maybe, but a Cyclone, Hellions, a lot of Marines pushing forward, you can dominate people with like 2 base builds versus 3 base builds, 1 base builds versus 2 base builds. And we see it happen all the time. So for Cure to have lost that entire drop with such little damage done, that was really worrisome.
I think the best way to illustrate that is, for instance, like if you lose a Marine and they deal with the 2 Reaper, 2 Hellion thing, that could actually be game over for you. But the supply, well, it dipped down by 10 initially. It bounced back up pretty quickly. Cure has a good set of units, but of course not enough units to really cover all 3 bases at once. That is the danger of getting 3 bases at all in any matchup. But it is Dusk Towers, so hopefully you're not going to take too much damage before you react. A couple of guys in the gas geyser go down, so not such a big deal. Cure's trying to get his own harassment in here. Double tank drop. Double tank drop.
Well, the tank drop's interesting because the Cyclone's not going to stop this, but he had a Viking out, right? Like, where did that go? That should be able to drive it off. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, he's racking up the SCV kills. Cure losing a lot of SCVs to this drop.
15, 16? Yet he still is only down by 7, so it just shows how far he was in the economy initially.
I mean, for GuMiho to have lost the medevac, the goal with that attack was to at least equalize damage, but the fact that he got more out of it was always better. Now, of course, drives off that medevac drop with that Viking, so this didn't get too out of hand for him. And the Cyclone roaming, a little bit dangerous, but if you can catch a lock-on a medevac that's not paying attention, it will kill that medevac.
Yeah.
Oh, Gumi's going to go with my favorite drop, though. 2 tanks, 8 Marines. I love this.
Yeah. It's going to have stim, and it might have 1-1, too, so... No, wait, that's Cures. It might have 1, my bad.
This tactic has changed a little bit with the way Legacy shaped up in tanks and medevacs and whatnot, but back in HOTS, like, this was still very prominent. The Muslim, actually, I'll just give him a shout. It was straight up the Terran player that made me fall in love with not only doing this myself, but like watching pros do it, because this 2 tank 8 Marine drop can be so bloody good. We'll see where he takes it, though. That's a lot of tanks out of Cure. Oh my god, this is like pure tank drop. I thought there was Marines walking behind this. That was just more medevacs and more tanks, I guess. So Gilbin's gonna take a lot of damage in his 3rd base. But so does Cure.
Now, it is very funny, because neither one really, like, okay, so Cure has literally no Marines, but GuMiho has, like, very limited amount of Marines. So, it's like, there's not much movement here other than picking up the tank drop.
He spread some when they could have all easily been in the dead zone. I don't know, that's a little bit weird.
Of course, he might have been just microing on the other side. 19 kills now. GuMiho takes back what he gave to Cure. Another drop goes in. That's what the Vikings are here for. It's what the picking up the tanks are there for. And, well, they both get shoot off of their 3rd base. Cure does take the lead here.
GuMiho just lost one of his tanks in the medevacs too, so he's be panned over there a little bit in the last second.
Yeah. Cure had, that stim and 1-1. It just didn't really help out in this situation. Of course, his offense was purely tanks. His defense had to deal with tanks. So now it is going to be helpful as he tries to push in to clean this up.
Yeah, with no medevacs at home, he had taken them all across the map. So the ones that came out now can push in. It was a little bit awkward, of course, but if GuMiho hadn't done any return damage behind this, he would have been devastated, because let's be honest, those 2 tanks and those Marines back at home didn't necessarily guarantee him a defense. Like, 4 tanks dropped and maneuvered is hard to deal with, and Cure's going to go for round 2. 6 tanks! Oh, sorry, just 5. That medevac... Oh,
it's empty.
You confused me. Yeah.
She tried. She's trying to blend in. So Cure definitely has a lead here. He has a lead in workers, he has a lead in army, and he has a lead in upgrades. His combat shields is a little late to sync, especially because his stim was so much faster, but it is now on the way. And he is looking pretty good. This is a very interesting style. Oh, good, unless you lose him.
Chasing with the Marines like that is scary, because you want to snipe, but you also will get sniped by the tanks. Obviously, a Viking would be the best case scenario, but not available, and he's trying to keep this from getting to his base. There was a drop off on the other side once again, but GuMiho just not getting the same damage done that Cure is.
I don't know if Cure is just experimenting with this kind of new style, or he's doing this because he knows he doesn't have combat shields, like his Marines aren't ready. But just to always be going forward with the tanks and defending at home with Marines, I guess that kind of makes sense. You see people do the opposite all the time, hope the tanks hold while they double drop with 16 Marines, but flipping that script and doing quite nicely with it. Too bad for him, tank drops might not be a thing in like a couple of weeks. His experiment will be or not.
I really hope they don't change it, because like even in this position, even as abuse, like, and this is the extreme level of abuse on tanks, right? Even this was still managed and dealt with. Like everyone who's so upset about tank versus tank and or sorry, TvT rather, I don't know why I said tank versus tank. Everyone concerned with Terran versus Terra and having tank drops ruin the game. I will say I've only seen it look better than ever with these.
So, yeah, I everyone knows that we're on board with this, so this is not news. But it's like every single TvT, the great TvTs that happen in like Korea, for instance, that I wake up to and they're like, wow, that TvT was great, and people are always like, maybe don't nerf tank facts, and then the next day everyone's like, oh, I hate it.
Well, the problem is, I imagine it is a very serious issue in lower leagues, and that's the majority of the game, right? The bronze and the gold players.
Yeah, but so was Doom drops. Like I remember very distinctly, everyone hated Doom drops in Heart of the Swarm. Yeah, people forgot about that, and they're just saying that Heart of the Swarm had the greatest TvT, and I'm like, did it? But yeah, enough of our whining, I guess. Despite having such a lead. Man.
The same way we saved the Legacy of the Void minimap, I believe we could save tank drops. Okay. We could like make mods and specifically use them in our tournaments.
I was like, we don't need to. The problem, of course, has always been that while TvT would be fine without tank drops, so just go back to Heart of the Swarm. The other matchups might not be, so maybe they'll realize that it's not going to work. Who knows? Cure still does have a lead, despite not having as much of a lead as he did a couple of minutes ago. He's up like 20-30 army supply with the upgrades and the workers. Actually, it's evened out a little bit. Still up in upgrades though, and a little bit up in the army.
Stims into a lot of tank fire. A little bit late with his own Marines though for GuMiho. Could have really taken advantage of this fight. Now tries to concave on the tanks, but I don't know if he's got enough. He's bleeding out a lot of supply. And this might be game actually.
He was quite, he was torn apart from his own army. So nicely done by Cure.
Cure now with a nice 2-0 lead here in the series. Now, of course, I'm still not one to count GuMiho out. It was the other series. Let's not forget, Rogue was down and then came back from a 2-1 to win 3-2. And when TvT's involved, base trades are sometimes in store. So we're going to hop into Game 3 really quick. We'll play some commercials after this game. Win or lose, you guys can figure it out and take your break around then. Blair Crest, though. Interesting map.
Yeah. This has resulted in a lot of the base trades, but also just very, very aggressive TvTs.
For about, I want to say 2 years of casting, we haven't had that many mic muted incidents, right? But it feels like since we brought Fear Dragon on, we've had more this last week. We've had in like 2 years of casting. And I know it's not his fault, but it still feels like it is, Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, I'm just lowering my desk so I can sit now instead of stand. We are getting into game number 3. And unfortunately, this could be the end of the series, depending on how this one game goes. Spawning in the bottom left side, it's the Red Darren player, GuMiho.
In the top left, as the purple Terran, it's Cure.
Cure's a fantastic player, and it's not to say like he does not he's undeserving of these wins. GuMiho should be playing better, because I don't necessarily think GuMiho's playing bad, but that was a pretty bad choke in the middle of that map, and I don't mean in terms of like map design choke. I mean GuMiho choked in that fight pretty bad. The trades early on were great, and even just the idea of going for like the double Rax Reaper in like game 1, like all of these moves out of GuMiho are very much GuMiho and within his wheelhouse. They're just not working against Cure.
Yeah. Well, the first game, it sucks when you just get kind of, I say they countered, but, you don't get what you want from a cheese. And then you just kind of forget about that game. But then the second game, immediately losing after that does put you in a bad position. So I don't know what GuMiho's mental state is right now, but it is at least cheesy. Kira did scout even when he went for a 2 racks opener, so he might scout again here, but he's going for a 2 gas opener anyways, so you don't necessarily have to scout if you're not going for a command center. Because you will have that factory out in time to get a Hellion, even if you see it at the last second.
What I kind of find interesting from GuMiho, though, is I actually, as funny as this is, it's not like he wouldn't use this for aggression if he finds the opportunity. I almost feel like this is defensive. Because it is in Korea, where they will just drop the hammer. They will do, oh, I'm up 2 in the series, let's finish this off with some cheese, right? So, GuMiho opening like this is not super duper dedicated, but it is also going to guarantee early game safety if he was worried about something like that. Regardless of what particular build he was worried about.
Well, he does scouts. I think this has to do with, well, just in general being safe, but also knowing where his opponent is, of course, because it's a 4-player map. Fortunately, GuMiho gets the last scout possible with his SCV, but obviously his Reaper can go where it wants to.
It's still, though, that Kira didn't get that second barracks, but for GuMiho, with Kira having gone for such a fast starport, I don't know that he's going to be able to take advantage of this. Like, even if he were to go, say, 6 or even 8 Reapers deep, there's going to be combination Hellion, but also possibly just Banshee out.
Yeah, that is definitely the advantage you get going for this 1 base against a 2-rack Reaper, other than the awesome defensive setup, is that you're going to have better tech than them, who's obviously put a lot of gas into Reapers. Now, GuMiho could just try, well, no, actually, he couldn't, never mind. If his command center was on the low ground, he could try and go around at the Reapers and just hold the wall. But he does have to defend against this to make sure his SCV doesn't get sniped, so that actually went quite well for him. But there's the Banshee.
Yeah, and I'm hoping, or rather, I was hoping that was going to be a tech lab, not a reactor, just to get out the Cyclone as quickly as possible, that cure-all unit that we oftentimes discuss, but GuMiho may die to this Banshee. I hate to say it, but like, even if he gets a Widow Mine,
possible.
That can't one-shot a Banshee. He needs a Cyclone, he needs Marines, he needs a Viking, he needs something, because he has no engineering bay, he has no anti-air. This Banshee is going to do damage. The question is just how much.
So he realizes, I think that's a possibility, and that's why he's getting engineering bay, as well as, eventually it's a +1. But it is just a little, it's a little late. The Banshee's already on the way over. It's a pretty small map. This was a turret, if he starts it right now, would probably finish. But without it, he will need to scan, because the SCV will be picked off.
Going to the natural, like building a turret down here instead of the main and transferring over may have been a better choice. But you're right, I think it's going to finish. But even if it does, it's still got that sweet spot you can sometimes just hover outside and kill SCVs with.
Kira plays it safe. He's probably macroing back at home or waiting for Cloak. Yeah, that's probably it.
It's funny to see him wait for Cloak, though, because he saw the Reaper opening. Like, he kind of had to have an idea of it. GuMiho, this timing for this ends up working pretty sick. Now, for those who didn't see what just happened, split-second moment, Cyclone did lock on, and then Cloak happened, and then the scan went down. So, canceled the lock on. Otherwise, would have definitely killed that Banshee.
Yeah. GuMiho had a good idea that a Banshee was possible. Oh, it goes into the turret range. And that's why he starts giving up scans. So, good thing he had one. But here comes the main push. It looks really odd, but you know that their unit count isn't huge, and it is mostly in these Reapers. So, the Banshee can obviously take them out. Yeah. Run, Reapers, run! And then any tanks that you start rallying with can start sieging up on the low ground, the little ledge there. Oh, no! Lock on, lock on, lock on, lock on's gonna get it.
Yeah, just barely sits on the edge of that vision, so... I mean, Kira's got a tank out, which is kind of cool, but doesn't have fast enough attack to obliterate this. I'm surprised he didn't actually focus on the Cyclone with it.
I think it was... Yeah, I do wonder which one would have been better, because he focus fired on the Marines that were all clumped up. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Stop it. Stop it.
No, actually, so I just learned something amazing, and I didn't realize the Cyclone had such a fast, what we would call it, like attack acceleration. Like it goes off immediately. Yeah, the tank didn't even get a chance to shoot. The tank doesn't have a projectile, guys. Like, to be perfectly clear on like why that went like that. He was wasting all of his shots on the Marine. That was cool. That was so cool.
This has not been a bad defense by GuMiho, who has been on the back foot because of his opener. In fact, it's another Banshee with this Cyclone. So I would actually call this like really good follow-up for GuMiho, who should have been in trouble at any point. Like, either the Banshee does start picking off, if not SCVs, like a reactor or two, or he bulks up the Banshees. Because there's 3 Banshees. They're going to target fire your Cyclone, actually, and your tanks, and then you're in trouble. But because Cure has been losing one by one, this game is kind of evened out.
I mean, the missile turret timing was questionable. There's a lot of things that had me with like question marks in this for GuMiho on the defense. But you're right, like he's taken a great defense here in Game 3, and he needs it, of course, being down on the series like this. If you were to have lost to the Banshees, that would have been really disappointing. Now, of course, just a quick reminder, because some people don't know, we do losers match first in all of our tournaments. So the loser of this will fight against Sulky next.
Yes. Which, initially, with how his T-Rex opener worked out, looked like it was going to be GuMiho, but he's looking fine and dandy. In fact, even pretty good. With his 10 army supply lead, he's only 4 SCVs down. You do want to stick on 2 bases usually for a long time on Laralac, just with how small of a map it is, but you can try and seek in a 3rd base, and it's a good thing that Cure did not, as it would have been sieged up right now. He's getting closer to the ledge. I think Cure's going to have to realize that might be a possibility, just dropping on his production. It's really not that big of an army for either party now, though, so that would always be a questionable maneuver. And Vikings are on the way out now for Cure, too.
+1. Also, I wonder if that'll actually make a difference or not. There's so few Marines and there's no stim for them.
There's no Marines of that medevac get sniped. Okay, the Vikings want to patrol and don't help.
Picking off stim from his opponent's actually going to be pretty huge if he can get that.
Oh, he's going to get it. He is going to get it.
If he pulls this repair it, he gets high ground vision taken away from him.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
he pulled away with his medevacs.
Oh, he's going to lose the tanks too. This ends up being terrible. This ends up being just absolutely terrible.
Yeah. Not devastating, as he still keeps an even army supply, and again, even on his workers, but that was almost fantastic. Getting stim when it's so far done, when yours is almost done, that would have been great. But I guess he also wouldn't have known it was stim necessarily, when I thought it was combat shields. Regardless, he does throw his third command center down. Both of them do.
I would actually argue combat shields would be the bigger pick off of the two, by the way, like if we had to pick and choose.
I guess it was more like it might have been combat shields just starting, like 1 second in, the stim had just finished.
So he's gonna lose everything out on this side.
That actually did dip the army supply quite far down, so
yeah,
that is what sucks the most.
Furthermore, he's going out with a medevac drop, which means even less supply at home. Cure displaying some really cool tank micro last game with these medevacs. He's gonna have 4 tank evacs coming in, and GuMiho's going to be matching it with 2. That's not going to work. The Vikings in the sky also going to limit the area these medevacs can really go. This is actually really scary because while there is a small drop on the other side of the map, this is something totally manageable, I feel.
Yeah, a tank sieges up. There's a couple of Marines. I mean, he's going to lose SCVs, which he can afford up until a point. Starting to get to that point. But his army was looking really good. It just pulls back entirely for this drop, however.
Okay, well, I'm actually surprised this did bring the whole army back home. And it's good, too. I mean, first off, this gets the worker count by 10, kind of evens it up. Both players are going to be mining out of their mains because they've been muling like crazy, so at some point a third is going to be necessary to take. So this low worker count right now is not so bad because the saturation is actually optimal. If the third base is down, you're kind of like, okay, I wish there's more SCVs in play. So weirdly enough, like the SCV count being what it is, not that big of a deal, but that upgrade lead is a pretty big deal. Now, Combat Shields is going to finish up, so he's not going to be that disadvantaged coming to the fight. But for GuMiho, it's going to be 1-1 versus just 1. And while this won't really affect the tank fights too much, this will mean his Marine should win these fights. Losing those Vikings is pretty bad, too. That was a nice lead that Cure really had going for him.
Yeah,
GuMiho,
it was.
Oh, he's fumbling these tanks all over the map.
That was really nice. So now he can actually micro with these tanks, whereas before we had to be super careful or just not do it at all. So now he has a chance to start picking off Cure's units. Now he scanned Cure's third and didn't see one, and I'm not sure he actually saw the third base on in his... Yeah, he actually didn't see the third base at all. He's no third location, and he didn't see it building in the main. So GuMiho might have a very poor read on the situation, thinking like, I have a third base and you don't.
His third not being down, though, isn't so bad just yet. Like, we'll see how long it takes him to get it. But right now, it's a point he can't really easily defend. So as he moves to take it right now, it's still going to be a possible hole in his defense, so to speak.
Yeah, but if he does defend it, and he's able to push this back, he might be thinking he's going to win the game, when really Kira has his own economy up and ready to go. But he might not even be able to push this back. This looks like a good fight to start.
The
tanks.
The Marines for GuMiho, they're doing really well, but he starts bleeding them out, picks them up, drops them on top of the remaining tanks. Nicely handled. Well done out of GuMiho.
Yeah, the tanks were left alone after those Marines stemmed into GuMiho's tanks. And of course, without its Marines, they are, that's a little dangerous to leave them alone. Kira does have even upgrades now. So that's, he didn't take a bad enough fights. And he's still up in 30 army supply.
Yeah, his Marine count being 24 is actually pretty damn important. Now for GuMiho, he is going to have to defend. You know, we get these back rocks being possibly chipped away. No, he's just going to go for the big drop. This for Vikings, and that turret is actually going to do a lot of work. These tanks are so low from that first engagement. SCV's pulled into it, but the Marines, they stem in way too late, so a lot of GuMiho's own tanks get blasted away. GuMiho loses the SCVs. He's going to lose this fight by the looks of it. Those tanks. Okay, he actually cleans this up. I'm astonished that he does, by the way, but still losing 16 SCVs. Yeah. Damn.
He did have a nice, I guess, concave at the end with the Marines, so they were barely getting splashed. But this is his one hope to return the damage. Again, he might have a very poor read on the actual game flow, having not seen that third command center. Or he might have figured it out, so like, okay, that's too much stuff not to have your economy up and running. But he does have an even army supply, despite being down in those workers, and he's going to try and abuse it. Here just has to pull away from the natural, might even have to lift. His army was out of position. Or not. I guess GuMiho just got to leave. It's actually very easily cleaned up here.
Now, kind of going back on the worker count again for just a moment. I wish I didn't break vision so we could show the graphs off, but you know, again, funny enough, GuMiho's saturation here is kind of okay, as his main's been mined out, and he doesn't really have to rely on needing gas. He's banked out 1,500. Who cares if those guys just aren't mining? So, I mean, Kira overall has the better income still. There's no question about it. But GuMiho's not exactly up shit creek, you know? He's got income enough for sure.
Yeah, he's keeping at a decent army supply, but now he's the one falling behind in upgrades and in tanks, as Kira's affording double tanks at a time.
Yeah.
He did scan the third base, but he still could be misreading, thinking that's the main. But I don't know, just kind of funky that happened that way. The GuMiho is still looking for that army. I guess with that scan, misses it just barely. I'll find it.
Oh, nice drop. Actually picks off quite a few units here in the third base of Cure. That medevac actually... Both medevacs making that a very long, drawn-out fight. Low damage all around. But now that 2-2 finishing up for Cure, I really can't stress this, guys. Like, a lot of TvT, I think emphasis gets thrown on the tanks. You know, oh, we want to nerf tank drops. We want to keep a focus on the tanks. But really, it is Marines that tend to win these wars a lot of the time. They have to be the fodder for the tanks, because whether you're dropping them or just walking them in, you need those Marines to set up that positioning. You need the Marines to concave and win the fight at the end of the day. Rarely does this come down to just the tanks.
Well, breaking up a ramp, even with a large amount of Marines, still going to be very difficult to do, especially as the Vikings are looking to pick off any advancing tanks in those medevacs. A couple of those medevacs are fairly low. He's going to try it. The Vikings come in, but they do not target the low medevacs. They're going to couple, but it looks like that's just too many Marines.
It's just too much. GuMiho's going to fall. Congratulations to Cure. He'll take the series 3-0. And, really unfortunate for GuMiho, because now we are going to see... Oh, what kills me about this is not only is it both the players I was cheering for today, but they're going to have to kill each other. This is like that scene in Spartacus, man, where they're like, you got to kill your best friend, and I'm just like, oh no, I don't want to see either of them fight. Like,
oh, I know what you're talking about.
I guess that show's kind of old. I don't think we have to worry about spoilers at this point. But either way, congratulations to Cure. So he's going to go on a fight against Rogue, but we are going to be casting the losers match first. So it's going to be GuMiho versus Sulky up next. Really, really sad to see GuMiho fall like that. But it is what it is. We carry on here with the Ting open. So ZombieGrub's got them starting their vetoes. While she does that, I have to go read a blurb from the sponsors before we go to commercials. I nailed this yesterday. Let's see if I can do it without messing up again today. All right. So first, before I even read this out, so like I'm not looking at the screen, I'm not reading anything, guys. Ting See, it's like genuine. They don't do plans like a lot of cell phone companies do. They do rates, which means you pay for what you use. Meaning if you use less, you pay less. And that's a big part of saving money with Ting. While Ting isn't always the best option for super heavy data users, you still might be using a lot more cellular data than you actually need to. Many viewers might be thinking, oh, well, I've got an unlimited plan with blank, so it wouldn't make sense for me to switch. But you may not realize there's a lot of ways to lower your mobile data usage without changing your smartphone experience whatsoever. And that's, again, where Ting really comes in trying to save you guys some cash. So go to their website, check it out, bttv.ting.com, claim your $25 in credit, get something off their store, maybe sign up for a plan, but use their savings calculator to see if you actually would save money with them or not. Because if you can, and you'll get the same cell phone experience where you're still texting, calling, and using data at the same rate, but saving money, there's no reason not to swap to them. Because, again, they're covered by Sprint and T-Mobile with partnerships to make sure that you've got nationwide coverage. So anyways, more about those ad rates as their sponsors themselves will talk about it in this commercial. And we'll see you guys soon.